What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me. I got an early look, and it's a shoe that I've been wanting for a very long time. Mr. Unloved Ones and I talked about this shoe, I think, back in December of 2021. It's finally here. Slated for September 10th release. I'm pleased to present to you the Air Jordan 3 Fire Red. Let's take a look at the box, and then we'll get into the details in a minute. Black box with elephant print on it. Red Jumpman right there on the top. Size tag reads white, fire red, and black. As I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to present to you the Air Jordan 3 Fire Red. That's right, guys. Back for the first time in 34 years, debuting in 1988, we have the OG classic, the Air Jordan 3 Fire Red. Now, so again, the Jordan 3 debuted in 1988 in 4 colorways: the black cement, the white cement, the Fire Red 3, and the True Blue 3. Now, of all my collection, this was the first OG colorway that I have in the Air Jordan 3. I'm super happy to have it. We're gonna get into the details of the shoe, and then we'll talk about some little history and some tidbits right after that. As you can see, this shoe has this slanted shape, which is reminiscent of the OG 1988 release. And this particular colorway, the light gray elephant print return. Now, I make that designation because this shoe released 2 times before, once in 2007 and once in 2013. On both of those shoes, the elephant print was much darker. The shade of that elephant print was also very reminiscent of the elephant print that released on the Jordan 3 denims, which I believe came out in 2020. Down at the bottom, you have that gray traction pad with the red and white on the bottom of it. Flipping the shoe up, you have that fire red mud guard, the visible air unit, and again, for the umpteenth time, that nice light gray elephant print. Now, the leather on this particular release seems to be of a better quality than what we've got in the past. I'll pull out another shoe in a minute so you can kind of compare and contrast, but definitely is very wrinkled, very tumbled, very pressed. So this shoe is, really nice, and for $210, I would expect as much. Moving on up, around the eye stays, we have this gray colorway, and again, the actual eyelids have red colorway on the bottom and a red colorway right here at the top. White lace and no spare lace, which is, to be expected, with the red Jumpman on that thin tongue, which is again another OG true callback. And probably the most exciting part of this release is the return after 34 years of the Nike Air on the heel tab. That's right, guys, the Nike Air tab makes its return. As I mentioned in my Desert Elephant 3 review, the Nike Air tab is most times reserved for OG colorways or special collaboration. And again, in this particular instance, we have the return of an OG colorway. On the back of the tongue is that fire red colorway. On the inside, a fire red insole with the Nike Air logo. So as far as the shoe itself, as color blocking and construction is concerned, that's pretty much it. That's not it for the totality of the shoe. This shoe, you could almost say, single-handedly saved Jordan Brand and Nike as we know it. While Tinker Hatfield had already designed shoes for Nike, this entry was his first go-round into the Jordan line. And thankfully, this shoe was Jordan approved. Some of you may or may not know that Michael Jordan was not happy with the Jordan 2. And around that time, I believe both Reebok and Adidas were swooping in to try to steal Mike away from Nike. So thankfully, MJ approved this design, and as they say, the rest is history. There's no telling what Jordan Brand, Nike, or the sneaker landscape as a whole would look like if this shoe didn't find its place into history. So as some of you may know, this was the first fire red colorway to be introduced, but it wasn't going to be the last. The very next year in 1989, Brand Jordan introduced the Jordan 4 fire red colorway into their rotation. And of course, the year after that, in 1990, they would introduce the Air Jordan 5 fire red. That being said, what we would have is a Jordan 3, 4, and 5 fire red colorways that are absolutely gorgeous, and each one stands out on its own. Each one of them had their own little tidbits to offer, including that metallic tongue on the Jordan 5 fire red and this beautiful black heel tab on a Jordan 4 fire red. So as far as whether or not you should buy this shoe, the answer is absolutely positively yes and no. And I'll tell you why that is. A lot of times I cop so many shoes, I can't particularly remember when the release dates are. But one shoe I think came out this year was the Air Jordan 3 Cardinal Red. Now, at first glance, there are a ton of similarities to these shoes. When this shoe came out, I believe it was fairly accessible. I didn't know how well the Fire Red 3s was going to sell, so I copped this shoe not necessarily for fear of missing out, because this is a nice colorway, but this was a good substitute in case I could not get my hands on the Fire Red 3s. So as I acquired this pair here, it kind of made this one obsolete, except this one is still pretty good in its own right. Now, I'm not quite sure if I had to have both of these shoes, except there's just something so special about that Nike Air on the back. So what I'm getting around to saying is if you had the Jordan 3 Cardinal and you can't get the Fire Red, all is not lost. So again, there are some things like nostalgia and history that maybe make you want to keep the Fire Red 3. But just in case you can, this is just as good of a shoe. Trust me when I say it. So right quick, a few other couple of things about this release. First and foremost, the return of that classic Nike Air hang tag. As you can see, it's that classic Nike orange with a semi-translucent Nike logo. That's just OG beautiful. And as you can also see, get this out the way real quick, I got my pair from StockX, which is troubling to me in a little bit, but let's first get this one little item out of the way. So again, in order to bring this early review to you, I had to get my pair from StockX. And again, there are other places like Flight Club, GOAT, Stadium Goods where I could have got an early pair. StockX, you know, I know them, I shopped with them before, so this is where I got my pair. That being said, this pair is supposed to come on the inside with a paper pamphlet detailing the tech specs, just like the shoe did back in 1988. Unfortunately, my box had no such thing inside of it. A, that's a little sketchy, makes me a little concerned. Number two, I talked with some folks on Twitter. They said, don't be alarmed about the shoe coming from China. The shoe debuted overseas well before, obviously, our September 10th date. So it does not necessarily mean that the pair is fake. What it can mean is that that release did not get that paper insert, or someone, hopefully the authenticator, took it out while they were legit checking the shoes, never made it back in. But make sure your pair, whenever you get it from this sneaker's release on September 10th, has that booklet or that pamphlet inside of it. Other than that, that's all I got for this particular release. The Air Jordan 3 Fire Red is a magnificent shoe. Fits true to size, great OG styling, great quality control. I don't see any cracks, blemishes, glue stains. It's great, 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 great. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm about to go outside, do some on-foot shots for you. And listen, September 10th, for the price of $210, I believe, the Air Jordan 3 Fire Red. You guys hang in there. I'll see you in the next release. I'm out. That's yo. Oh, the original cut. There it absolutely is. I might like it better than the 2020 version. So, right, and I had to have it.